This time here, Yerushalmi Pesachim. The article is edition with Daf Samad Gimel Amud Aleph. We are on the fourth line down, Rabbi Yirmiyah. And in the Vilna, that is Mamish at the top of Nun Gimel Amud Beis, Rabbi Yirmiyah. Now, yesterday we had Rabbi Yochanan Broka in our Mishnah who said, if there are no Ochlin, you serve me out. You burn the car basically immediately. He held that the Psul of no Ochlin is like a Psul Guf. So machshir, you don't have to wait till two birds of also. In the Gemara, we had Rabbi Nechemia, who learned that way. Not Rabbi Nechemia, sorry. Rabbi Nechemia, who said that way as well. Rabbi Nechemia said that if you have if you had no ochlin, in the case of the korban, which was brought by the inauguration of the Aaron and his children, and Aaron and Avihu died, and therefore they were only names, so they couldn't eat. So then the korban was immediately burnt because of the psul aninus. They're no ochli. So therefore, we see also he holds psul of no ochli as a psul aguf, not a psul machshir. Now, the Gemara says, it's a very cryptic line. Rabbi Yosef also holds like that. How he holds like that only comes clear much later. The Gemara actually doesn't come totally clear. Just much later down in the sugya, we're going to be able to understand what it is. But I'll give it away. It's Pnei Moshe, based on Pnei Moshe much further down, which is that he also learns a psul, a specific psul, which we'll see, and I won't give that away yet, from the parsha of Nadav and Avihu. So evidently, Rabbi Yochanan broke in our Mishnah doesn't say explicitly. How does he know that psul ochlin is a psul aguf, not just psul machshir, from the parsha of Nadav Avihu? So Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yochanan Broka, and Rabbi Nechemia, and basically all learned psulim from the parsha of Avihu. Not just, so to speak, a story in the Torah. No, we learned psulim from there. Both Rabbi, his name straight here, Yochanan Broka and Rabbi Nechemia learned psul ochlin. The psul that Rabbi Yosef learns there is a different. Somebody also learns a psul from that pasuk as well. Okay, so now in the Vilna says there Tnin on Tamon, and the Shakla B'tari here is Long Shakla B'tari, which is not yet directly relevant to this point, which you just made. Rabbi just made. So it could be that it should say Tnin on Tamon. In the Shinus Chos and in the article, the Greek says Tnin on Tamon, even though whatever evidence we see that to Rabbi Yirmiyah's statement is only much later, but either one works. So, Tina Taman, we went over there. Chatas kibul dam b'shtei kosos. If you have a chatas, you accepted the blood of the chatas in 2 cups. Okay. Yotze echad me'em chutz lachutz. One of them went outside the Beis Hamikdash. It's not pnimi kosher. Then the one which is inside Beis Hamikdash, it's fine. You can still use that one, even though one of them went out. The one which you made inside is fine. The other, they went the other direction. One of the kosos went inside the heichal. Now that's no. The only time the blood is supposed to be brought to the heichal is by chatas pnimis. Chatas pnimis is a paralem davar of Kohen Gadol and paralem Moshiach, where you bring there's a special halacha. You bring the blood into the kodesh, into the heichal to do zoos there, sprinkled there, and there's a special halacha which will come to later on actually, which is that those korbanos chatas are not eaten. Their meat is burnt in a special place, which is stored outside Yerushalmi. So, what if you put the blood of a regular korban chatas inside the heichal? So, basically, machshir. Basically, says we saw the other one which is staying outside. That's okay. That's a fight says machshir b'chitza. He says the one which remain outside is good and fine. You can use that. Chaim pasel, and why we're going to see later on. Amray basically first says, well, let me give you a logic here. Later on, I'm going to come to psukim. If a place where machshava is possible, if you had in mind time shkita to bring the blood outside the Beis Hamikdash, right? So so then that machshava is to do the zrikas them outside, and machshava to pass the korban, right? It's chutzim koimo, right? So my makash machshava says b'chutz lost by mishur kayotze, whatever is left inside If it does become possible, right? Even though outside is chomer that you had him machshavas chutz and possible carbon. Uh, 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 Malcolm lost us some shabak. So it doesn't make it inside possible. Malcolm she'en machshav says bifnim. A place of machshav is not possible. You had in mind time shchita the shchita carbon to be zorek the dam of a regular chatas inside the heichal. It doesn't pass with the carbon, right? Rabbi could see that point, right? So therefore, it's less of a super makam pasul the heichal. So in addition, let's say sure kinichnas is not kavachomer should not make that which is remains as if it went in and pasul. No, we should say it's kosher. Okay, so that's one machlokas. Now we have another machlokas about the blood, which when it actually did go in. Nichlas lechaper. You took the blood in to the kodesh, and low keeper, even though you weren't mechaper, it wasn't mechaper, right? Puzzle. And I tell you what I say. Well, there's a mishul here. You took all the blood in, right? So let's avoid the machlokas between Rabbi Yosef and Rabbi. But he took all the blood in, but he didn't sprinkle it, right? So then, so we have machlokas here. Nichlas lechaper abishol keeper puzzle. The Rabbi Yosef. Rabbi says once the blood goes in to the heichal. For regular chatas, it's possible. Shimon Achi Chaper, Shimon says, no, until you sprinkle it. It's not possible by just taking it in, you have to have to sprinkle it inside. Here it says, Vishogak, or maybe it's to shogeg, kosher. You brought it inadvertently, it's okay. You brought it in deliberately, it's not okay. Okay, so now the Gemara says, another point about the blood, it's called damim. We're going pretty far afield. We'll come back to it soon. Any blood which is possible is put on top of the mizbeach. Lohu tzatzitz elatami. The tzitz is not maratza for that blood, unless only it's only maratza to atame. Shatzitz maratza atame and maratza yotzin. So of course, what's relevant to our discussion? If the blood is taken to a place it's not supposed to go, and then put on top of mizbeach, so then it's not mechaper. You don't say tzitz is maratza. But the evet, no, it's only maratza by tame and not by yotze, not where the blood went to an improper place. There's a teil chashub psul machshir Rabbi Yosef. So the Moshe says, klomar, meaning the kodai milsa biyadach. Take this principle in your hand. The sheminim b'pluktai pligei nami b'ha. That from the machlokes we just learned, they also have additional machlokes. Rabbi Yosef agreed, psul adam nikol psul machshir. Because psul adam is called psul machshir, lo psul guf, and not psul guf. Shei chaver melchutz v'kosher. Because we said that the blood which remains outside the heichal remains kosher. Klomar shenichas cham lifnim. So when one coast goes inside the heichal, her machshir b'chitza. He says the chitza is still kosher. Because it's not possible to take all the blood in. First time we have basar, like we're going to learn our process later on. Rabbanan teilachal mashal ayim milsa k'psula guf. This is like a psula guf. Because even the chitzon shumechitzasa, which remain in the proper place outside the heichal adayin, I feel like possible. Nevertheless, possible. Because part of the blood went inside. So let's see that inside. Now, let's say the blood which went inside is a psul machshir, because it doesn't pass in blood which remains outside. Because the blood which went outside the echo is kosher. It's easier to take out the word vahu. You don't have to, but it would read more clearly. Right? Even you read vahu, it's the same idea. Whatever remains outside is kosher. But the korabara is psul aguf. Shemechitzas possible because even the blood which remained outside becomes possible. I never went into the heichal. No, the blood which goes in the heichal is a psul aguf. Therefore, apostles even the blood which remained outside. So it's interesting difference between psul machshir and psul guf, right? It's psul machshir is apostles. In this case, is used to describe something which passes a specific aspect, so it passes the entire thing. Okay, so now we get into the sources of the halachas. In other words, Before Rabbi Yossi tried, tried to Kavachomer, but actually we learn out the sources from Sukkot. So Rabbanan Darshan. Rabbanan have a drasha. Now this pasuk is the pasuk of which it says by another of you, where it says, its blood was not brought into the Kodesh Pima. You can eat it like I was commanded. That's what Moshe Rabbeinu says to, you should have eaten it like I was commanded. So Moshe Rabbeinu says to Aaron was in his summer. So, Rabbanan Dashim Neshlo Nichnas Miktsas Dama Lifnim Achol Tachluasa. Rabbanan say that since none of its blood went inside, therefore you eat it. But had any of its blood gone inside, you would not have been allowed to eat it. Nichnas Miktsas Dama Lifnim Yafas if any of its blood had gone inside, but it would have probably that you burnt it. And the reason they learn out is not from this pasuk itself, but from another pasuk which we'll see momentarily in Vayikra Vav. In other words, they would just say how they learned this pasuk, but we need another pasuk to get to the depth of their shita. Rabbi Yossi Darash. Yossi says, he says, no, it doesn't say if part of its blood went inside, it would have been a problem. It would be, only if all of its blood had gone inside, it would be a problem. But if only part of its blood had gone inside, what goes to stay outside would have been fine. Now, it's possible, I want to say it's because of the end of the Gemara later on, that he's touching the word S, saying S. Right, because every S of the rabbis, it means all of its blood, not just Dama, S Dama. Okay, but we'll come back to the reason I want to say it at the end, just before the minute get to the next Mishnah. My time Rabban. So it says about okay, from this passage we don't see Rabbanan's diuk. So the Gemara says no, that's how they understand this passage, but it's on the basis of another passage. And the other passage is Vayikra Vav. And this Vayikra Vav got a major difference in exegesis, understanding the passage. According to Rabbanan Kohen Rabbi Yossi. So this one says, Chol chatas sheyibah midama el moed l'chaper b'kodesh lo se'achel b'ishti sarei. Any chatas which is blood is brought from, you bring from its blood to the omoy, means the heichal, to be mechaper in the kodesh, to should not be eaten, it should be burnt in the fire. So that on this pasuk, Chol chatas sheyibah Rabbanan Dashin midama, afilu miktsas dama. There's a mem there, midama from its blood. So the way Rabbanan learned this passage is supposed to say about a regular korban chatas, normal korban chatas, and you brought its blood inappropriately into the heichal, and you brought even midama, part of its blood. So lo se'achel b'eish yisrael. Normally allowed you can't eat from chatas. This chatas you can't eat from. It's got to be burnt. So again, Rabbanan learning this pasuk about normal chatos and saying midama, they bring from its blood, even a part of its blood, into the kodesh inappropriately by ishti sorry. I will say ishti sorry. I feel mitzvah dama. My time Rabbi Yossi Gli. What's the logic of Rabbi Yossi Gli though? So hein lo huva estama kodesh mima. I don't dash in that pasuk. I dash in the other pasuk estama, which means all of its blood. Okay, so what about this pasuk here? So here it says kadod detani. So the kadod did the Leiden takes out. The article also points out the Leiden takes it out. So you don't have to take it out, but it makes it a bit easier to take it out. So now we're going to explain what does Rabbi Yossi do with the pasuk in Vayikra Vav. So he says, I'll tell you. Let's get married. Ain't calling you them medaber el parmani swafin siron niswafin. That pasuk is not talking about a regular chatos, where you brought the blood inappropriately into the kodesh. No, it's talking about the parmani swafin siron niswafin, palim davar and parchim Mashiach, where the blood is supposed to be brought into the kodesh. And midama means you brought its blood appropriately where it's supposed to go. And then something bad happened to it. Whatever happened, did happen. So then, kol chatas show v'dama omoed chaper b'kodesh, something bad happened, lo seachel, leish yisrael. It can't be eaten, it's got to be burnt. Now, as Carbon Ada points out, it can't be eaten anyway, right? Because you're supposed to burn its meat, even if it's kosher. So it's supposed to be burnt michutz l'shalosh machanos. So this is the lo seachel here is a lav, which is going both here on when it's possible and also when it's kosher. This is the lav, not to eat from the meat of putting the nisrafim and sin nisrafim. Besides that, there's also it teaches us a special halacha, which is that it's which is ironic a bit, but Ba'ishti Saref means it's brought it's burnt not like the kosher one outside the three machmas of Makator. It's burnt in the Beis Hamikdash proper. That's what he says. This is going to who's supposed to be put the blood in. Detail name Losa Selichilosan. To say there's Losa on eating them and the basa even of a kosher one as well. And that when it's possible, it's burnt in the Beis Hamikdash. Okay. So Homolosa, he said but that's the case. We learn from this pasuk that when you bring any part of the blood, a regular chatas, inside the kodesh is possible, but according to you, where's the source for that? So it doesn't say amarle, but it's as if it says amarle here. It's called it says, right? Lominat korea, right? Let's say like when says lami korea. Let me see if halo above a gomer. I learned that from that review itself. That from there I see that there's a psul of the blood being brought into the heichal, but only all of its blood, not part of its blood. Because I learned midama that you're learning from that pasuk in Vayikra Vav. That's only about regular chatas who brought it illicitly and even part of its blood. No, that's not about pasuk about anything else. So else altogether. According to me, that pasuk about part of the nisrafim. And midama means what you're supposed to bring inside. You brought inside, right? You're supposed to bring from its blood inside. You're sprinkled. So therefore, my source is from none of it. So now, going back to the beginning of our discussion, the beginning of the day, so that when it said that Rabbi Yirmiyah said that basically also heard that Rabbi Nechemia and Rabbi Yochanan Broka was that we learned out a psul from the Parsha of Navi. They learned psul ochlan is the psul aguf. He learns out that the psul of damanichnas. If it's called up, half of the goes in. So then, of course, it's possible and also psul aguf. I guess not psul machshir because they burn immediately, and you can't. And that's also learned out from the story of Natan Nabi. Okay, now the Gemara says, and it seems Rabbi Yosef is still continuing to speak, and he's now addressed Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva's not been mentioned here. So the Bnei Moshe says, well, let's read inside first. Hey, Lova, so it says, I don't learn out from that pasuk, but rather, for a lumia ain't correct, but rather hey lo basam el kodesh pnima, right? And ho'enomer midama elas kodama. And don't forget, there it doesn't say midama, it's kodama, right? Now the Gemara says, and it's not sure if Yosef is still speaking or the Gemara itself is saying that the Shuvah Rabbi Akiva sheomer midama v'lo kodama. There's a refutation of Rabbi Akiva who said midama and not kol dama. That's very much says kiv lashkan lo b'hay masis zvach lo b'tosefta by plukta shem kimlu rabbanan. They basically the rabbanan. So shem kimlu. Sorry, maybe they knew rabbanan Rabbi Yosegli. The rabbanan is Rabbi Akiva. The karmei the mikan tshuva l'svaras Rabbi Akiva. And here that's the saying it's a reputation of Rabbi Akiva. And then he says, Pastor is going on a different Rabbi Akiva, but not going to get there right now. But I think like this, you say like this, that perhaps this is talking about the whole time. It's talking the whole time. It says, He says, you said Dama, this is just the chap, and I don't, it's not necessarily true, but I think it's chap. So I'm saying it. So he said, it's saying, hey, Rabbi Akiva, yesterday saying Rabbi Akiva, you always dash an S, right? That was the whole thing, right? The Chem Masuri dashed all the S until he got to S Sheva Tira, and Rabbi Akiva, so it said, Shesh Kalti Uschar Drisha Kachka Uschar Prisha. And then Rabbi Akiva said, no, S Sheva Kechol Rabbas Tami Achom, and he brought back the dashing of the S. So Rabbi Akiva says, Rabbi Akiva, you darshan S. I don't know if it's actually him speaking. It says, true Rabbi Akiva. Maybe it's him saying, Rabbi Akiva, this is the response to Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva is saying, Rabbi Akiva, what itself is saying. True Akiva, Shemin, no, call them us. So he says, no, this word S, which it says here, S Dama, teaches us that all of the blood, not just part of the blood. Okay, so in any event, but he doesn't say the word S here, so maybe I'm wrong. But nevertheless, that's saying that the Rebbe, he basically is saying that if you were to leave out that drasha I just made, that that pasuk of above is not a source to me. It's not very good. It's about kol dama, and therefore, mixas dama goes inside. That's not a problem. Korban remains kosher. Halachiyut, hatamos, the bones, vaginin, the sinews, vanoisa, and any leftovers. So the Korban said it's almost that you can now have to break because you're now have to break it's a pesa, but there is marrow inside, so it has to burn. And gidin, they're also to eat midrabanan. He says, the Moshe Rabbeinu says the shimno shel nasha, which is also rabbanan, so you can't eat it. Or there's another Torah of here, but in any event, so the Torah it's the rice and no sir, because the rice you are supposed to eat it. So and no sir itself, of course, the paste plus the paste is left over. You burn b'shishasar. You have to burn 16. You can burn on Yontif. B'yichal shisha, so there's Shabbos, if the 16 comes on Shabbos, so b'shivasar. You have to burn 17. Shein dochen unless the Shabbos, so it's Yontif. Burning the nosar, even though it's you're required to do so, it's not the Shabbos Yontif. Okay, so I'm going to ask to discuss a basic question here. Etzem she'ein olav basar, a bone which has no meat. So Yochanan Asa Shover. Yochanan says you're not allowed to break it. Shimon Yochanan Mutzah Shover. Yochanan Shlokish says you're allowed to break it. Reb Chaim points out that this is Rabbanan, not based on the Bavli. It's the Rabbanan. That's why it says Asa, I guess, not that you're Chayav for Shvios Etzem. So Shimon Yochanan says Mutzah Shover. There's not this is Rabbanan. So evidently Rabbi Yochanan understood Reish Lakish mean that even if there's as long as there's no meat, it's okay, even if there's marrow. So therefore, the Gemara asks, it says you have to burn the bones and the sinews and the noiser. V'yakus, but just cut the bones open and take out the marrow and eat it, and then you want it to burn the bones. So so it says, why it says kulis specifically, not sure, but it seems from Reb Chaim that kulis is significant in marrow and it has a shear, evidently. But I guess Kezias, kulis, I think is the hip bones. But in any event, he says, no, you misunderstood me. I didn't mean that you can break a bone which has no meat, even as marrow. No, the marrow is also meat. You can't break any bone which has meat, both on the inside or the outside. Okay, so now the Gemara says, Yachlot es ha-basar min etzem yenem min etzem. So the court made actually change it to the moach and the article says this is if you change it to the moach. So so there's a separate question. It's going on both ways. And the Gemara meaning was that the only issue is to break it while it's kosher, not when it's possible. So the So therefore, break it after it becomes possible. And remove the marrow, use the marrow. Burn the marrow and keep the bone. Use the bone. So the article brings down those people want to explain Reb Chaim and Moshe when I say questions only on Rabbi Yechanan. But then it brings down that according to Korban Ada and the Nir and also the Yerushalmi Pesachim, questions on both. I don't see why it should be going on both. So the name of the Gemara answers, again, Gemara asks, Yachlitz is a moach, the etzem, Yenemen etzem, right? Should have an off of the etzem. It's interesting, the article brings down the Bavli and Pei Gimel. The Gemara in the Bavli asks some question, but it doesn't say, have I know for the answer, just toss the bones, which is okay. But in any event, you shouldn't have to bother burning it. It's very hard to burn that. So I don't know if you can make something of that. They're going to probably still be us by no. But anyway, the Bobby's question is similar question, but not to have enough of the bones, but to just describe the bones. Something made my So no, you can't be chol. It's a even once it's possible, you can't break the bones. The Gemara says, even if you say chotzin subsul, you can't break the bones of apostle. That's why it's possible from the beginning. If it was kosher to begin with, and then the nitma became possible, and whatever other way, including nosar, evidently, also shiras etzem. You're not allowed to break the bones, so therefore you have to burn the bones with the marrow in them. Okay, and that brings us significantly on to Amud Aleph, so we'll stop here for